Today on TimesCast, a look at life after Taliban control in Pakistan's Swat Valley. A first look at a weekend story on how Republicans are raising cash to run against President Obama in 2012. And Sarah Palin's Alaska premieres Sunday on TLC, but is it a reality show or a political ad?
I would describe myself, my family, as just normal, average, everyday Americans.
The Foreign Desk plans to run an article this weekend on Pakistan's Swat Valley. It was liberated by Pakistan's military last year after 2 years of Taliban control, which included beheadings and the bombings of girls' schools.
This is Adam Ellick reporting from Upper Swat in Pakistan. For the past few years, Swat has hosted a violent war. And I wanted to come back here to see if life has returned to normal. For the first time in years, citizens were free to jam to music, which was banned under the Taliban. Farmers are no longer forced to donate their livestock to the Taliban. These kids told me they hadn't played in this canal in a year and a half. They demonstrated how their local clothes can double as the world's cheapest raft. The lesson here is that people now have the security to create their own personal forms of happiness. But in areas where they depend on public services like education, they feel abandoned by their government.
زمان پاکستان چین هغه چین تعلیم دراسه بچین ترقی باندې شي کوله زما چې کوم مخکې ارمان چې زما ډاکټر جوړم نو که زما یقین نه زما چې کوم ډاکټر ځکه دې چې بلکې کلندرم جوړل شمه.
The government hasn't rebuilt any of 150 fully destroyed schools bombed by the Taliban. Tens of thousands of students still study in tents. Teachers say fourth graders remain at a first grade level. The army, which is everywhere, stamped its victory by painting the national flag on private homes and houses. But paint alone isn't enough to win the hearts and minds of the children of Swat.
Michael, you're working on an article today that's probably going to remind a lot of people that in fact the 2012 presidential election isn't that far away. A lot of people who are perceived to be early contenders for that have already begun the money race.
We're talking about people like Mitt Romney, people like Tim Pawlenty. These are people clearly who are considering presidential runs. And what they have are leadership PACs. These PACs are not technically able to finance a presidential run, for example, but what they are able to do is contribute money to other candidates, but this also allows them to build relationships with these big donors who could be key in a 2012 run.
And in your reporting, are you finding any rationale or strategy in terms of where this money is coming from geographically?
These leadership PACs, they have them at the federal level, but they also have them at the state level. And part of that is to take advantage of certain rules that allow, for example, unlimited donations in a particular state. But they're also there for political reasons. They're in Iowa, in New Hampshire, for example. Pawlenty has PACs in Iowa and New Hampshire, and as does Romney. Romney also has a PAC in South Carolina. So what are these? These are early voting states. And so this allows him to put down roots, contribute to candidates in those states, but also begin to set up political operations and start traveling and things like that in those states.
Wow.
And Sarah Palin's reality TV show keeps the potential presidential candidate in the public eye.
Brian, this Sunday on TLC is the premiere of Sarah Palin's new reality show, Sarah Palin's Alaska.
Oh, I love Alaska. This is my home.
Tell me a little bit about how the show came about.
She was fielding lots of TV offers when she left office last year, and the one that ended up being most interesting to her was from Mark Burnett. He's the famous producer of Survivor. What they've basically created is this combination nature series and political behind-the-scenes look at what it's like for someone who did run for office and may or may not run for office in the future.
What kind of impression do we get of Sarah Palin, politician and Sarah Palin the person from the show?
Well, first thing, we see someone who loves Alaska, who loves being in the outdoors, but I think the more interesting scenes are the ones at home, the ones that are more like a family sitcom, where we see her reinforcing her family values. We have a scene where she's talking to her daughter Willow, who's trying to bring a boy upstairs, and she enforces this no boys upstairs rule.
20 minutes. Willow, come here. No boys, go upstairs. Willow, Willow.
If this succeeds, is this something you think other politicians would do? Are we going to see Joe Lieberman's Wild Connecticut? Or is this something that works for Sarah Palin?
We did see Christine O'Donnell this week on Jay Leno, the failed Senate candidate in Delaware, saying that she's had some TV show offers. But it would seem these would only work best for candidates who are part of a populist movement, maybe candidates that are darlings of the Tea Party, that have a fan base installed but may or may not be weighing a political run. I noticed yesterday we had the announcement of the first Republican debate of 2012. It's coming up in 4 or 5 months, really right around the corner. And this show will basically tide Sarah Palin over to that point if she decides to make a run for the presidency.
So is there a chance we will actually see Sarah Palin deliberating about her political future on Sarah Palin's Alaska?
I don't think we will in this season, but maybe in season 2.
Join us again Monday for TimesCast.